Welcome to the Crime Files, your destination for unraveling the darkest and most mysterious crime stories from around the world. In today's episode, we're diving into a chilling case from the serene city of Dehradun in the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand. What began as a simple report of a foul smell led to the shocking discovery of a heinous crime, leaving everyone, neighbors, police, and the entire community, shaken to their core. On June 3rd, 2023, in Clement Town, a locality in Dehradun, a resident from Turnal Road C13 called the police to report a foul stench emanating from a neighboring house. The caller explained that the smell was intensifying with time. The person further mentioned that they had gone to check the house and found it locked from the outside. The odor was so overwhelming that standing nearby was unbearable. The caller said that when they knocked on the door, they suddenly heard the sound of a child crying from inside. This led them to believe that someone might still be inside the house. They knocked again, but no one responded this time either. The person urged the police to come and inspect the situation. As soon as the Dehradun police received the information, they promptly arrived at the house in Clement Town. By then, several neighbors had gathered outside, including the landlord, Suhail, who lived on the ground floor of the building. The stench, however, was emanating from the first floor, which had been rented out. The police immediately went up to the first floor, where they found two doors leading into the house. The main door was locked from the outside, while the other door was bolted from the inside. Fortunately, one of the doors had a wire mesh, which allowed the stench to escape. Otherwise, it would have gone unnoticed. The police cut through the mesh to gain entry into the house, accompanied by some neighbors. Inside, the scene in the bedroom was so horrifying that even the police were taken aback, and the neighbors were left stunned. On the bedroom floor lay two corpses, one of a man and the other of a woman. The bodies were in an advanced state of decomposition, suggesting they had been there for several days. Blood had oozed from their noses and throats, spreading across the floor and drying into dark patches. The bodies were also crawling with maggots, making the sight even more gruesome. It appeared that the bodies had been lying there for several days. Blood had oozed from their noses and throats, spreading across the floor and drying into a dark, blackened patch. The corpses were crawling with maggots. However, suddenly, everyone noticed something that left them shocked. A newborn baby was lying near the two bodies. When the police checked the child, they discovered that the baby was still alive. From its appearance, it seemed the child had not been born long ago. At most, the baby could have been a week old. It appeared to be the offspring of the deceased couple. This meant that the baby had been lying there, starving and thirsty, amidst the foul smell since the death of its parents. The child's body had turned pale, and maggots were crawling over it as well. The police wasted no time and immediately sent the baby to the hospital. Doctors began the child's treatment right away. Following this, the forensic team was called to the scene to collect evidence. Upon investigation, the landlord revealed that the upstairs room had been rented to a couple named Anam and Kashif. Around the same time the police received the call reporting the incident, a woman arrived at Clement Town Police Station with a few people to file a missing person report for her husband. She stated that her husband had not answered her calls since June 10th, despite her repeated attempts to contact him. On June 12th, his phone was switched off, which prompted her to visit the police station on June 13th out of concern. The woman explained that her family's home was originally in Chahal Police Station area of Saharanpur district in Uttar Pradesh. Due to not hearing from her husband for days, she had traveled from Saharanpur to Dehradun to report him missing, as her husband worked and resided in Dehradun. As for Anam and Kashif, there appeared to be no signs of a third person entering their home. All their belongings were intact and undisturbed, indicating that nothing had been stolen. Additionally, one door was locked from the outside, and the other door was bolted from the inside, which made it seem that they might have permanently locked one door from the outside and used the other for entry and exit. But now the question arose, why would they lock the door from the outside when it should have been locked from the inside? At first, the police thought that the couple might have committed suicide. However, they soon questioned this theory, reasoning that no one would inflict such severe pain on themselves to end their life. It is generally observed that when people commit suicide, they often hang themselves. This thought puzzled the police. The most significant point was the presence of a 1-week-old baby still alive in the house. If it were a suicide, why would the couple leave the baby to suffer? If it were a murder, then someone must have entered the house. However, during the time of the murder, the victims would have resisted and likely screamed. Why then had no neighbor heard any cries or screams? Why did no one notice anyone entering or leaving the house? These questions raised countless doubts in the minds of the police. The bodies were then sent for a post-mortem examination to determine the exact cause of death, as this was crucial for further investigation. The landlord revealed that Kashif and Anam had moved into the house 4 months prior to the incident. At that time, Anam was pregnant. On June 8th, they went to a private hospital where Anam gave birth to a baby. They returned home on June 10th. According to the landlord, the couple had not stepped out of the house since then. The police were torn between theories of murder and suicide. The post-mortem report, however, provided no clear answers because the bodies were severely decomposed. Due to this, determining the exact cause of death was very difficult. The police then traced the families of the deceased and began questioning them, as they might provide vital information about the victims. During the inquiry, it was revealed that Kashif's home was in Saharanpur. Additionally, it came to light that Kashif had another wife in Saharanpur. He was already married before Anam became his second wife. His first wife's name was Nusrat, and Nusrat and Kashif also had a son together. With this information, the police began suspecting Kashif's first wife, Nusrat. It was possible that she was unhappy with her husband's second marriage and might have orchestrated the murder. Such scenarios had occurred in previous cases, and it seemed plausible that something similar had happened here. As the investigation progressed and more clues were uncovered, 2 days later, the police found out more about Nusrat. A police team from Dehradun immediately set out for Saharanpur, where Nusrat was staying at her in-laws' house, which was Kashif's family home. Upon reaching Saharanpur, the police questioned Nusrat. She revealed that there was no conflict between her and her husband regarding his second marriage. Despite the second marriage, their relationship remained amicable. Nusrat also disclosed that she and Kashif spoke on the phone daily. However, after June 10th, Kashif stopped answering her calls, and by June 12th, his phone had been switched off. Concerned, Nusrat traveled to Dehradun on June 13th to report her husband's disappearance. When she reached there, she filed a complaint at the Clement Town police station. To confirm this, the police checked the records at the station and found that Nusrat had indeed filed a complaint. The police then checked Nusrat's phone and analyzed her call details. Upon thorough investigation, it was found that all of Nusrat's statements were true. She had been speaking with her husband daily, and when he stopped answering her calls, she tried reaching him multiple times. Kashif's father, Mohsin, also confirmed this, stating that Nusrat could not have done anything wrong to her husband, especially since they had a son together. He expressed concern about what would happen to their family now that Kashif, the sole earner, was gone. Kashif worked as a JCB and crane operator in Dehradun. After interrogating Nusrat and verifying her details, the police cleared her of suspicion and moved on. The next step was questioning Kashif's neighbors to uncover if he had any personal problems or enmities. Conversations with family members and villagers revealed that Kashif had borrowed a significant amount of money and was in debt, amounting to approximately $1,300. This financial burden caused him considerable stress. The police theorized that Kashif might have killed his wife first to free himself from responsibilities and then taken his own life. However, his emotional attachment to the child might have stopped him from harming the baby. Alternatively, the debt collectors might have been involved in the crime. But the police dismissed this theory, reasoning that killing Kashif would mean losing any chance of recovering the loaned money. As the investigation in Saharanpur yielded no leads, the police returned to Dehradun empty-handed. Subsequently, the police retrieved the call detail records, CDR, of Kashif and Anam's phones. The call logs were analyzed, but they provided no significant clues, as all the numbers in their records were of acquaintances. Amidst all this, there was some good news. The child of the deceased couple, who was in critical condition at the hospital, had recovered and was now out of danger. According to the doctors, the child's condition had been very serious earlier. Although the baby was born full-term and completely healthy, with a normal weight, the doctors stated that if the baby had been born prematurely, it might have died, just like its parents. Meanwhile, the police were continuing their investigation, trying to find clues related to the murder. They began examining all the CCTV cameras installed around the crime scene in Clement Town. While there were no cameras directly near the house, there was one camera on the main road. From their investigation, the police determined that the murders had occurred sometime between June 10th and June 13th, which explained the badly decomposed state of the bodies. The police began reviewing footage from June 10th onward. During the day, the area was busy with people, making it unlikely that the murders happened then. However, on the night of June 10th, no suspicious activity was observed. The police then reviewed footage from June 11th, but again, they found nothing. The investigation seemed to be at a dead end, but the police persisted in checking all the footage from June 10th to June 13th. Finally, on the morning of June 13th, they noticed a car that seemed suspicious. The police reviewed the footage again and noted the car's license plate number. Using the plate number, they traced the car's owner to a man named Ashwad. Kashif's family confirmed that Ashwad was a friend of Kashif. The police then approached Ashwad and questioned him about the car. Ashwad revealed that he had lent the car to a man named Shahbaz on June 13th, but claimed he did not know where Shahbaz had gone that night. When the police asked Ashwad who Shahbaz was, he revealed that Shahbaz was Anam's elder brother. This revelation shocked the police. Why would Anam's brother be in the area late at night? The possibility that Shahbaz might be the person they were looking for started to grow. But the question remained. Why would he kill his sister and brother-in-law? During their investigation, the police discovered a video on Anam's phone. In the video, Anam was tearfully stating that her brother Shahbaz was threatening to kill her and her husband Kashif. She claimed that Shahbaz was planning their murder and that their lives were in danger. Anam's emotional testimony in the video left no doubt in the police's minds. Shahbaz was indeed involved in the crime. After watching the video, it became clear that Shahbaz was involved in the crime. The police then retrieved Shahbaz's mobile call detail records, CDR. The records revealed that Shahbaz had switched off his phone on the night of June 10th and turned it back on the morning of June 11th. Normally, this wouldn't have been unusual, as people often switch off their phones to avoid being disturbed at night. However, Shahbaz had only done this on June 10th. He had never done so before or after this date. This detail raised suspicions about Shahbaz. Additionally, the police found that Shahbaz's location on June 13th placed him in Clement Town. On June 10th, before switching off his phone, his location was near his sister's rented house. However, when he turned his phone back on, he was at a different location. When Shahbaz's name surfaced in connection with the murders, Kashif's father filed a formal complaint at Clement Town Police Station, accusing Shahbaz of murdering his son and daughter-in-law. He explained that Anam's maternal home and in-laws were both located in Saharanpur, and both families belonged to the same village. Given this, the police traveled to Saharanpur and arrested Shahbaz. Shahbaz was brought back to Dehradun for questioning. Initially, Shahbaz denied all allegations, insisting he could never harm his sister or brother-in-law. He argued that he couldn't kill his own sister or make her a widow by killing her husband. However, the police had strong evidence against him. The police presented Shahbaz with the CCTV footage, his phone location records, the fact that he had switched off his phone that night, and Ashwad's statement that Shahbaz had borrowed his car. Faced with this evidence, Shahbaz eventually broke down and confessed. He admitted to killing his sister Anam and her husband Kashif. Shahbaz revealed that he spared the child because the baby had been born on June 9th, and he assumed the newborn would die of starvation and neglect. Shahbaz detailed how he committed the murders. He said he slit Kashif's throat with a small knife, and during the commotion, his sister woke up. When she tried to intervene, he smothered her and strangled her to death. Both murders were executed in a fit of rage. Shahbaz and Kashif were from the same village and had been friends before Kashif married Anam. This marriage transformed their friendship into a family relationship. In fact, it was Kashif who had invited Shahbaz to Dehradun for a visit, and they had spent time together exploring the area. However, Shahbaz had long harbored anger toward Kashif. Shahbaz had initially planned to end Kashif's life in Dehradun, but the crowded area made it impossible to execute his plan. He decided to cancel it, and after spending some time roaming around, returned to the rented house in Clement Town with Kashif and Anam. Until June 10th, Shahbaz stayed with his brother-in-law Kashif and his sister Anam at their rented home. On the night of June 10th, after everyone had dinner and went to their respective rooms to sleep, Shahbaz got up late at night. He went to the kitchen and retrieved a knife. Since Anam had given birth to a baby on June 9th, both husband and wife were exhausted from their hospital stay and had fallen into a deep sleep. Shahbaz, armed with the knife, went into the bedroom where his sister and Kashif were sleeping. He first slit Kashif's throat. Kashif tried to resist and even scream, but Shahbaz repeatedly attacked him with the knife, leading to his immediate death. During this commotion, Anam woke up and saw her brother killing her husband. She attempted to stop Shahbaz, but it was too late. Shahbaz did not stop there. After killing Kashif, he overpowered his sister easily because she was weak from labor pains just a day prior. He strangled Anam to death. Both husband and wife collapsed onto the floor from the bed during the attack. After ensuring both were dead, Shahbaz meticulously cleaned himself. He then locked one door from the inside and placed a lock on the other door from the outside before quietly leaving the house. However, on the night of the incident, Shahbaz was not caught on any surveillance cameras leaving the scene. A few days later, on the morning of June 13th, Shahbaz borrowed his friend Ashwad's car and returned to his sister's house. This time, the car was captured on camera. Shahbaz entered the house after unlocking the door, but what he saw left him shocked. The bedroom was soaked in dried blood, and a foul smell filled the air. The sight of the decomposing bodies and the overwhelming stench made it impossible for him to go near the corpses. Shahbaz had planned to move the bodies using the car, but the smell was so unbearable that he abandoned the plan. The most tragic sight was the baby lying helplessly on the bed in the same room. Shahbaz decided to lock the house again and left in his car. Shahbaz later confessed to killing Kashif and Anam, revealing the gruesome details of the murders. The burning question remained: why would a brother brutally kill his sister, who had just become a mother, and her husband? Why would he leave their 2-day-old baby to suffer in such horrible conditions? During interrogation, Shahbaz explained that 8 years ago, his father had died in an accident involving a Hydra machine operated by Kashif's brother. Shahbaz claimed that the accident was intentional and that he had been too young to seek revenge at the time. A year before this incident, Shahbaz was imprisoned in a rape case. While he was in jail, Kashif and Anam eloped and got married. Upon Shahbaz's release, the villagers mocked him for his jail time and his sister's marriage. These incidents filled him with rage and a desire for revenge. He blamed Kashif for all his humiliation. Shahbaz had been threatening Kashif and Anam, prompting Anam to record a video about her fears. To get closer to Kashif, Shahbaz pretended to reconcile and visited him. On June 10th, Kashif himself invited Shahbaz to join them in Dehradun. They shared a meal of Maggi noodles prepared by Kashif before going to sleep. However, Shahbaz stayed awake, retrieved the knife from the kitchen, and executed his plan. Shahbaz described how Kashif's throat sprayed blood onto the walls, and how he cleaned the stains with a cloth. He kept the murder weapon with him and later disposed of it in the Asha Rodi forest. Being alone, he couldn't manage to dispose of the bodies that night. He feared that the baby's cries might attract attention, exposing his crime. When no one discovered the bodies after a few days, Shahbaz returned to the house on June 13th to move them, but failed due to the unbearable smell. Meanwhile, the baby had been admitted to the hospital, where it fully recovered. On June 23rd, the child was handed over to Kashif's parents under the supervision of the Child Welfare Committee. Based on Shahbaz's confession and the evidence collected, the police filed a charge sheet and presented it in court. Shahbaz was subsequently sent to jail. As of now, Shahbaz remains in jail, and the case is still under trial in the session court. What are your thoughts on this case? Let us know your views in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you found this story compelling and want to support us in bringing more such real-life crime stories to light, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and hit that subscribe button for more gripping content. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from the Crime Files. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay alert, stay safe. We'll see you in the next episode.